Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. We're bringing you some of the sweet games that took place at last month's Ultra Invitational. Now this game is taken from the Group A stage of the tournament. The top left hand corner of King Sejong Station as our blue Zerg player is going to be Golden. Now in the bottom right hand corner as his team member and opponent in this match, our red Protoss player, it's going to be Patience. Now both these players obviously playing for Team Alien Invasions. You can see that cute little moniker there in the corner of the Nexus. So both these guys are teammates and very familiar with each other. One of the reasons I decided to cast this game, you always see some of the hinkiest shenanigans when you see two team members come up against each other, and add to all that, King Sejong Station is one of my favourite PvZ maps, so very excited to see what these two come up with here on the map. We see Patience actually throwing down his pile on the low ground, always a little bit risky against Zerg. Chance of an early pull makes that a little bit dangerous. Obviously you're going to be scouting out ultra early with this probe, ensure that he doesn't fall prey to those sorts of shenanigans. Scouting Overlord isn't going to spot that for some time. We are going to have a Forge coming down, so very likely Patience will be able to wall this off, particularly given that no pools on the way. It's much safer opening than it is on some of the older and smaller maps. The rush distance on King Sejong Station is quite long. You have to take this long S path all the way up to your opponent's base. We can see Patience diligently scouting that third base location. For those of you who aren't familiar with these players, Golden of course won the Red Bull training grounds last year, did very well there. A lot of players really I think got to know his playstyle for the first time during that tournament. Participated and did very well in a number of things recently. We've seen some high profile games out of him thus far in 2014, but so far unable to repeat his successes of 2013. Likewise, Patience had a great year in 2013. We saw him place very well in DreamHack Winter, and he's been placing well in a number of tournaments since then, but likewise going for that large tournament win here. You actually see Golden deciding to throw down his hatch in his opponent's natural expansion. Unfortunately for Golden, picking a location that is within range of that cannon, though the cannon is going to take a long time to work down this hatchery. The hatchery is going to delay that Nexus for some time. Probe going to go to it as well, carrying those minerals, but still going to be zapping away at the hatchery. And is surprisingly effective at stalling out this Nexus. We see the minerals continue to hover, 4 more probes coming down, and hopefully Golden will have his eye on it to cancel. Indeed, there we are. Even the drone managing to stay safe there. These 3 probes though should make short work of that, along with this cannon, which is more than covering the ramp here. So looks like Patience finally going to get that Nexus down, which is good for him. Unfortunately, Golden able to throw down 2 hatcheries at his natural and third base location. So looks like Golden is going to respond with 3 bases to this Forge Fast Expand. This is the right choice for most Zerg players. Particularly, Protoss goes for something that is as unaggressive as this is unaggressive. I'm not 100% positive that that's a word, but when your Protoss opponent grabs and secures his natural this quick, the right response is an increased production and economy. So going up to 3 bases is a great idea. One Zergling going to be harassing this poor probe across the map, and a few Zerglings working down the back ramp. So if Patience isn't careful, he could well lose these rocks and have his backdoor open to a lot of aggression from the Zerg player. Particularly, Mothership Core still a ways away. These Zerglings may well get close to taking out these rocks before that Mothership Core is actually in play. Third base now finishing up for Golden. Second base already established. We have 2 more queens in production. 1 queen making its way down the ramp, and second and natural will be those 2 queens. Lots of drones coming up to supplement these bases, get the mining as efficiently as possible. We really want to saturate those as quickly as possible. Once the Protoss aggression starts up, particularly if Patience selects to go for some sort of 2 base timing, it will make it very difficult for Golden to defend this. Particularly, the distance between the natural and third is quite large, hence the reason we saw Golden throw down that creep tune. Always a better idea to get that down, particularly when you do have a longer distance between these 2 bases. Ensure you can use those queens to help defend, as without the creep, queen's virtually useless, and you can end up trying to defend these sorts of early 2 base aggression with slow lings or a few roaches. So always a good idea to pull those queens in. They bolster the defense tremendously. Things like the transfuse, very important. Have the Mothership Core managed to force the Zerglings away, though those rocks are well under half health and going to be subject to easy run-throughs for things like units of roaches, and a few speedlings could well take that down quite quickly as well. We have the Mothership Core just scouting out, checking for things like overlords. Not a bad idea. Surprise Nidus network can ruin your day. But not going for anything like that. We have the lair just starting up now. Queen's continuing to inject as often as possible. One zealot going to make its way across the field. There's a little bit bold. We have the zones. Nice control on these drones here, actually managing to help focus down that zealot and keep all the drones alive. They will of course regenerate that health over time, and it looks like Golden will survive that harass, not only without losing a single worker, but not actually losing his queen or taking any substantial health damage. So always a win there. We have a robotics facility on the field producing an observer first, which generally indicative of a desire to gain better map awareness, understand where the Zerg forces are, when and if they move out. If Patience was to be going for some sort of 2-base timing attack, often he would just start chrono boosting Immortals out immediately, so possible that Patience may just continue to tech up past this point. We do have the armor upgrade on the way as well. It means those Zealots will be that little bit tankier. We actually have a few Zealots in Warp Prism going to continue pushing this third base, so this is quite a bit of aggression. We have 5 gateways down here and our first Immortal on the way, but looks like Patience is going to be getting underway with or without those Immortals, trying to ensure that these units just get straight into the fray. And this third base taking a lot of damage from these Zealots. Sentry actually could fall to these Zerglings here, and Patience somehow manages to keep that alive in the midst of all of those Zerglings and Roaches, though Golden could well pick it off. We actually have Roaches running past the Sentry, so not quite sure why Golden elected to run past it. These Zealots doing a lot of damage to Roaches. Time Warp also proving to be highly effective. However, unfortunately for these Zealots, there is plenty of Roaches now in the field. Roach speed about 30 seconds away. This hatchery looks like it will well and truly survive, and Patience will be forced back here as the Queens drive the Mothership Core well and truly out of contention. If Patience isn't careful, he could well lose this Mothership Core to the Queen. Indeed he does, and that is a horrific loss for Patience here, as these Zerglings and Roaches can knock down this back door with impunity and then put pressure on this natural expansion. I think we will see Golden go for precisely that. He won't wish to advance down the against the front ramp. Things with these cannons and multiple Immortals and Sentries will make life very difficult. Looks like, contrary to expectation, he may well choose to try and engage these Sentries. I'm not sure just how wise this is. We have three Immortals already on the field, more in play, but we have the Roaches managing to get right on top of these Immortals. Zealots, so lots of Zealots trying to tank the damage, and Patience just turning things around. The supply just rocketing into favour of our Protoss player, in spite of the fact that Zerg player throwing down another 11 or 12 Roaches, but still barely ahead on the supply. And this is very bad news for Golden. It managed to lose that engagement in every possible way. If we look at the units lost tab, 3,300 to 1,400, just some beautiful force fields from Patience during that engagement. Managed to pick his fight in just the right corner. A few force fields between those locations made it just impossible for Golden to do the damage that he needed to. Golden yet again going for another engagement on this side. I'm going to say I really doubt the wisdom of advancing against this Protoss force. You could instead attack the back. In fact, we do have a second group of units moving out for that back door. I think that's a much smarter idea. Patience moving out into the middle of the map may well force a base trade scenario here. We have plenty of units on the left hand side, may well pull our Protoss back into position, but it looks like Patience is aware of these armies, knows that he's now being flanked on both sides. Got to make a decision here, got to get the army into position. A few Stalkers morphing in at the front to try and save this Nexus, but there's enough Roaches here. Photon Overcharge going to be buying a bit of time, but Roaches trying to decide whether or not they can get engagement. A lot of Stalkers here now, but we have a group of Zerg units on either side trying to contain our Zerg player. These Roaches continuing to try and work down the Stalkers. Unfortunately, Sentry's catching all of those Roaches, and we have the Protoss army continuing to trade very efficiently. Looks like Patience may now decide to counterattack. We have massive swell of units here. Spire on the way for a potential tech switch, but not really a whole lot of gas to funnel into those Mutalisks. So Golden throwing down some Spine Crawlers. I love this decision. He knows he has to hold this line. We have Immortals and Stalkers barreling down here. Actually potential for the Immortals to do a bit of damage from the high ground. Does have line of sight for the time being with these creep tumors and things, but potential actually for Golden to engage from the for Golden to actually be caught from the high ground if he's not careful. It looks like Patience instead wanting to get an angle on his third base, and to be honest, I can't blame Patience. Force fields have been fantastic. The right sort of force fields between this base and those crevices will make it very difficult. Patience throwing out a lot of force fields here, a few Zerg units managing to make it through, but Patience just master of the force field as he throws them down in a complete arc, buying himself time, ensuring that he doesn't get this around. A few of these Spine Crawlers getting picked off, but Patience, these are the force fields that made him just so popular at Red Bull training grounds, and just showing Protoss players how it's done. Walling these Zerg units off and just managing to butcher his way through. Warp Prism here, going to continue to allow for reinforcements. More sentries being warped in, which is rare in these sort of engagements. Most Protoss players, once they've used the initial energy, just are content to continue to push, but Patience showing us those sentries are his go-to tool. Going to continue throwing down force fields, not enough to quite get the wall off he was looking for. These Roaches trying to jump on top, but these Immortals have so many kills, 12 kills, 12 kills, 11 kills and 15 kills, so almost 60 kills between these Immortals as they continue to barrel down. These poor Overlords caught above the Stalkers. They're going to get focus fired so quickly as the supply cap just plummets for Golden. Things looking very grim for him. I don't know what he can quite do to try and turn this around. We have a few Zealots actually in the natural expansion of Patience going to be tearing through the probe line, but I think there's just too much Protoss force in this base. Nice force fields from Patience, going to keep this Zerg army entirely contained that base. There's just a singular choke point for them to try and force their way through. There's just so much Protoss here. A few Roaches all at stand between Golden certain defeat, but unfortunately continuing reinforcements from that Warp Prism, there is just enough probes here to continue to warp in units, and Golden will tap out of this quick but very aggressive game. So great game from Patience. Very excited to see what he gets up to in the remainder of this tournament. This is just a single game from the group stages of the tournament, guys. We have stacks more StarCraft action coming up here on Aussie StarCraft, so please guys tune in. Gonna have plenty of it here for you. If there's any games that you'd love to see cast, please let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, we hope you enjoyed it. We got plenty more coming up right after this.